maybe. I don't know yet. I'm gonna do a test type video today. I've changed the perspective shot on the GoPro, got it out of super view, and I just put it back in wide. Kind of like the videos I made when I started this YouTube channel, and I was driving the automatic Cascadia from the job that I lost. Today is December 30th, so Happy New Year. I hope everybody had a good holiday season. I, for one, had an extraordinarily great holiday season. I got a lot of time off this year, which was extremely nice. You know, not because the company was being generous. It was all basically just due to a technicality with my med card. The expiration on my med card for this previous year was December 26th. After paying for the physical and everything, I wanted to get my money's worth out of it. So what I usually do is I'll wait up until I've got about 2 weeks left before the med card expires, and then I'll go to my doctor and get clearance for stuff before I go and I actually take the physical. Well, I got it all done in plenty enough time. I actually got my new med card done on the 21st of December. But the weird thing that I hadn't anticipated was the fact that the DMV, the week of Christmas, they were closed for a good portion of the week. So because of that, I wasn't able to turn my new med card in to the DMV. And I actually ended up waiting until the 26th to get it turned in. So my freaking CDL almost lapsed. I mean, had I not turned it in at that last moment, then I wouldn't be able to drive right now. So because of that, my company was flipping out about it, saying, we're not gonna let you drive until you get this taken care of. And it just so happened to be the week of Christmas, so I got all that time off. I pretty much got 3 days off the week of Christmas. Normally they give you Christmas Day off, but you have to work on Christmas Eve and you have to work the day after. Spent a lot of time with my family, caught up with family that I don't see very often, and then also caught up with a bunch of friends. My wife and I, we had this big party this past weekend. It's like a ugly Christmas sweater party. I might even have some pictures to show you. Yeah, we had a really good time. And well, New Year's is in a couple days, and they're actually shutting the whole company down on New Year's, so I'm gonna get that day off too. And I won't complain about it. It's pretty nice. But I figured I owed you guys a trucking video of me driving, and I don't know how this is gonna go. I do have a camera pointed at my face right now, watching me drive, so I don't know what they're gonna think or what they're gonna say about it. I guess the worst case scenario, they could just be like, look, don't do that anymore. Right now I'm in South Carolina, Greenwood, South Carolina, not to be confused with Greenville. No, this is like south of that area, off of the interstates. It is off of this US route 221 and 25. But yeah, I've just picked a load up. I'm taking it to the rail yard in Fairburn, and I figured I'd get that for you guys today. It's been a long time since I've made a truck driving vlog. I'm gonna be taking some back roads. Primarily, I think I'm gonna be using this US 25. I'm trying to get down to I-20, and I'm gonna be hooking up with that somewhere around Greensboro, Georgia. I'm gonna end up on Georgia Highway 44, which will take me to I-20. But I don't typically get to do this very often, where I'm using a lot of these back roads to get around. But this place was just, you know, it just happened to be in a good spot where I could really bypass Greenville on the 85 in and bypass Columbia and Augusta on the I-20 end of things. So it actually kind of worked out good. I held out on you guys for a long time and not making any videos, but then I started to realize how much I miss making these. So I decided I would go ahead and try it out today. This looks like it might get kind of interesting, I don't know. Bradley? Maybe that's the name of this place. Still on US 221, headed southwest. I'm seeing a lot of Bradley, like the name of the road. There's like this old camp back there called Bradley. Sumter National Forest is to our right. It's a nice property right there. Farm. There is something interesting about this route I want to show you guys that I actually highlighted in another video that I made one time, but it was on my main channel. I made a video kind of like for educational purposes, just giving tips on how to use Google Maps safely as a truck GPS. In the video, I gave an example of one particular circumstance that you might run into when you're trying to navigate, and we're actually going to see that today. I want to point it out to you in this video today. All right, we got a sign that says 10'6" ahead, through trucks use US 221, and it turns off right here. At least they're up to par on their signage. And apparently there's a tunnel down there, 10'6" tunnel. And that's South Carolina 10. All right, we're 9 miles from McCormick, South Carolina. So I'm assuming we're gonna drive through there, possibly. But the road that I'm talking about, I think I already said this, but it's US 378. I know there's a Washington County in Georgia, but the town that I'm thinking of, it's possibly in it's possibly called Washington. And yes, I know I've got people in hauling speedboats passing me, but guys, I've got a pretty good safety score right now going with my job, and I don't want to mess it up by speeding. So I always try to do the speed limit, or if nothing else, I don't go more than 5 over the speed limit. But if I'm in an area like this where I'm kind of close to these towns on the back roads, I don't typically speed in areas like this, because you never know when the speed limit's going to drop. In fact, the speed limit signs, if you probably already know this if you're truck drivers, but if you pay attention to the speed limit signs, you can usually tell when you're about to come up into a town on a back road, because the speed limit will start dropping before you even make it into the town. It'll go from 55 to 45 to 35, and then maybe sometimes even 25 if you're coming up on a square or something. But this is kind of nice, it's kind of interesting. I enjoy it more than the interstate. Okay, here's the example I was talking about. That sign said McCormick town limit, and the speed limit is going from 55 to 35, so slowing way down here. 25. We must be near a square. Yeah, so we've got a light here and we've got a light after this one. The one after this one, it looks like US 221 goes to the left. And that would be east. Lincolnton. Guess that's where we're headed to next. That must be their courthouse over there. That's pretty cool. What do we got up here on the left? Savannah Lakes Village. It must be one of those fancy schmancy neighborhoods with lake houses in it. This is more of the, I guess, what, Savannah Lakes right here. The sun's kind of messing it up, but it's really nice out here. It's pretty. I don't recall if I've ever actually been on this part of 378 before. Georgia state line, Lincoln County. Reduce speed ahead. How was that reduced speed? It actually went up 10 miles per hour. It was 45, now it's 55. That's not reduced speed. Oh, there's the guy that passed me earlier. Lincolnton city limits. Just another small town coming through here. Golden Pantry. This is also Georgia Highway 43 right here, which is kind of interesting how they got that numbered, because it's ultimately we're going to get to Georgia Highway 44, which we're going to go through Greensboro before we hit the interstate. Washington, 19 miles. Okay, yep. And 61 miles from Athens. So just to give you a better idea about where we are. Oh wow, it's dropping to 25 now. So I guess maybe we haven't reached the actual old part of Lincolnton. Maybe this is it right here. Again, the speed limit marker will give it away every time. Okay, this Georgia 43, it splits off to the south here. Got an increase in the speed limit. And I noticed back there with that sign that said, you know, 43 goes to the left, that it also had a sign under it saying truck route. Sometimes that can throw you off because you might think, well, if I'm in a truck, I have to turn left, but that's not always the case, because if you're gonna stay on your primary road, which in our case, again, is 378, in order to stay on that truck route, we would have to split ways with the highway we need to be on. So technically, you know, we're good on this road. It's a US route. But the truck route for Georgia 43, it turned off to the left. It's confusing, you know. I don't understand why they've got their signs like that, but this is definitely a truck route too that we're on. I guess a lot of times when you do see those arrows and it says truck route, it's mainly when you're going to come up on a bypass. And I'm going to give you guys an example when we do actually get to Washington. I think it said we were 19 miles away from there. That's a pretty cool looking property right there too. I like that. Oh, look at the cemetery. All right, so we're still on 378, but we're gonna come out in just about 3.5 miles. We're gonna come together with US 78 business, which is gonna go through this town, Washington. But the town folk don't like trucks. So they've created a makeshift bypass. Here's something I've discovered with navigating trucks and not having a truck GPS. I know I have one now, but for years and years and years, I never had a truck GPS, so I had to figure it out with Google Maps. And one thing I would continuously notice as I go through particular towns is that if there's a US route going through a town, a lot of times it'll split and say like, this US 78 right here going through the town of Washington. Well, it's called business US 78. A lot of times it'll say business and then it'll have the US route. But if it ever says business and then it has the US route and the number for it, you know, a lot of times that means that there's also a bypass with the same US route number. So for instance, US 78 here, there's a business US 78 going through the town. That's the road they don't want through trucks on. So that should also mean that there's a bypass US 78, right? Well, in this particular instance, there is no US 78 bypass, but there is a makeshift bypass. And they don't call it US 78, they call it Andrew Drive. So I'm taking that to mean that it's not a US route, it's not a state route, it's actually just your run-of-the-mill county road. But because they don't have a bypass, maybe they haven't made it yet, maybe they will in the future. This is what they have for now, but it's still just as important that you take note of this road and you get on it when you're in a truck, because otherwise you could get a ticket for going straight through the town on business US 78. I hope that makes sense. But we're coming up on it now. It's actually in 1 3/10 of a mile. So I've never actually seen the town of Washington. I've always got on this bypass. And I'm pretty sure this is the road that's ultimately going to take us to Georgia Highway 44 and down into Greensboro. Now, like this US 378 is actually going to merge with US 78 right here, and my turn is in half a mile. I'm going to stay in the left lane. Take note that there's a traffic light coming up. This is the end of US 378, and it looks like the normal 78 is right here, actually, come to think of it. But because we're trying to get to Georgia 44, we don't need to get on 78. But we do need to turn left up here, and it's really important. And you can see the sign right there, it says truck route to the left. So it looks like they do have their standard US 78 bypass, but we don't need to mess with that. So we have to turn right here. See, if we kept going straight here, then I could potentially get a ticket for that. And hopefully you guys can see the road sign. It says Andrew Drive. And you saw the sign back there allotting it as a truck route, meaning that you have to turn left right here and get on the truck route. It's the only way to do it. Well, guys, I feel the need to break in here and clarify whether you take me at my word or take me as a fool. I want to actually show you on the map what I'm talking about. Whenever you come up on a town, and this is a really, really good example of it right here, okay? So in the video, we're on 378 right here. And we are coming into this town, Washington, right? Well, just like I said, you've got US 78, and then this road right here, the road that I am saying that I'm not allowed to be on, is US 78 business. It might be kind of hard to see, but it's right there. You see the BUS up above the symbol for US 78. Well, if say I was gonna go this way, like northwest, and I just needed to get to the other side of Washington, well, this is the way that you would have to do it in a truck. I would have had to turn right at that intersection where 78 was and come up this way, because this is allotted as the bypass. You see, it says it right there, North Bypass for Washington. Okay, but we're actually not going northwest, we're going southwest. So in this case, this is the makeshift bypass that gets you around the south part of Washington, while standard US 78, which they allotted as a bypass, gets you around the north side. Andrew Drive gets you around the south side, going southwest. And this is what we're actually about to do in the video. We're taking Andrew Drive down here to Georgia 47, and then we're going to jump on the State Spur 44. But I just wanted to show that to you, that when you're studying a map and you're seeing a US route on two different roads, just keep in mind that one of those US routes is the bypass and the other one is the business route. And that's really all I was trying to say. And the whole point of the bypass is that it gives trucks an alternate way to go through or around, bypassing the town without actually having to go into it. And because they have a bypass, they expect the trucks to use the bypass or potentially get cited for taking the business route, unless, of course, you are making a delivery that's on the business route. That's different, because then you're not considered as a through truck, you're actually considered as a local delivery truck. And that's really the only time that you're actually allowed on those business routes. And it's just a small road. You can tell it's a county road. It's got some municipal buildings on it. It's got a school. Okay. I guess that's their school. Looks like some government housing right there. There's a truck place. So though it's a county road, it's kind of a industrial part of their city, so I guess that's why they allotted it as a truck route. It's kind of on the outskirts and it goes around Washington. And this actually is a county road. It's County Road 41. I can see it on the GPS now. There's another state highway, Georgia 47. Oh, there's a bunch of deer down here. You see them? It's like 4 deer running through the woods. Guys, I saw something insane a few weeks ago. Never seen anything like it in my life. I was on 285, right? You know that road, the Beltway for Atlanta. I was on the southeast side around, you know, between Boulder Crest Road and the interchange for 75. And this freaking deer runs up, and there's like a pilot road for one of the ramps for an exit, and it ran across that, but there's like this wall. It's probably a good 8 feet high, separating that exit ramp road and the actual interstate 285. All right, now we gotta make a left turn. This freaking deer jumps clear over this freaking wall. I mean, clear over it. And proceeds to run across like 5 lanes on 285. It's a freaking deer. It jumped right out in front of my damn truck, man. It was the craziest freaking thing I've ever seen. I've never seen a deer on 285, but I saw one that night. It was crazy. Like, I didn't even know deer were... So that means it was inside of the perimeter. I guess it was trying to make its way outside of the perimeter, because it literally jumped across and was going to freaking go all the way across the interstate. I didn't see if it got hit by another vehicle or not. I mean, I had to keep going. But yes, I saw a deer run across 285. Now this road right here, this is Georgia Highway 44 spur. So this road actually branches off of Georgia Highway 44, but that's a good way to know that trucks are also allowed on this road right here. This is why we had to use that bypass on Andrew Drive, is because ultimately we're trying to get over here to Highway 44. But the only other way to do that would be to go through the town on US 78 business, which we're not allowed to do. So this is your alternate route to get over here. And again, we've got more industrial complexes. So we're gonna bang a left down here in 1.5 miles onto Georgia 44 and take that down into Greensboro. There's a flatbed place right there. Lumber. But yeah, I mean, my point with showing you all that is that it's crazy. Like, you think you're okay because you're on a US route, even though it's a business US route. You think you're okay, but no, they like pull a wild card on you and say, no, you got to get on this county road if you're in a truck and get off of the US route. So it's kind of confusing, but the only way you're going to know that is if you pay attention to the road signs to begin with. Like normally you'd never get off of a US route and get on a county road unless the place you're trying to go to is off of that road, you know what I'm saying? Here's 44. And this is the end of that spur. It's just a real short road. I'll see you guys in Greensboro. Okay guys, we are about to make a left turn. Still gonna be on 44, but this is how you get in, or you come into Greensboro. This is a pretty interesting city. It's not far from Madison, which is actually where I'm gonna stop for some fuel and to take a shower in just a little bit. There's a 13.6 clearance. Coming up. And there it is on the GPS. It says avoid, but I've been through here too many times to know that I'll fit. And I'm sorry guys, I was planning on taking you through Greensboro, a good portion of it. But doesn't look like we're gonna be able to do that. It's to the left, but we're gonna be making a right turn. So that was the low clearance. We made it. And Greensboro's actually that way. Oh, how I don't miss doing that. I miss it a little bit, guys. I'm not gonna lie. That was kind of lackluster. I admit it. You can turn left back there too and go through Greensboro and take that to I-20, but I think what I'm gonna do, since I'm pretty sure I'm on 278 right now. Yeah, I am. So I'm gonna take this to Madison. Like I said, we gotta go over to Fairburn, which means we're gonna be taking the interstate to do that. There are some back roads, but I don't know if they go out of the way or, you know, if it adds extra mileage. It would definitely take more time. And I don't feel like with this company, I don't feel like they give you as much of the liberty to use alternate routes. Like they kind of just expect you to take the interstate. If that's the primary option, they don't really want you to take back roads unless you have to. Just take what I just said and scratch it, because apparently this is Greensboro. I thought it was in the opposite direction, but it's not. It's right here. So yes, we're going to be going through the main strip portion of 278 that goes through Greensboro. Kind of cool. I don't know how I got that mixed up, but I did. So the old part of this town is actually up here on the right, and it consists of a few city blocks. It's pretty similar to Madison again. But this is it. And it doesn't seem to be as decked out as I remember it being. 44 goes to the left there. That's actually how you get to I-20. But I'm gonna go straight since I'm already on 278. I think it'd be easier to get to the Pilot if I go this way. a nice town though. I like it here. Really nice houses that you can't really see very well. We're about 20 miles from Madison. So this is US 441 right here. And the truck stop is around the corner. We're in Madison now. I just can't remember how to get into this truck. So I guess it's right up here, yeah. I was thinking that it was on the corner right there, but it's not, it's further down. All right, so I'll get some fuel and take a shower and then be on my way. Like there's parking here, so that's good. All right, good deal. My fuel tank's kind of in a funny spot on this truck. I gotta remember to pull up just enough, but not too much, because the DEF is in the front and the fuel is in the back, on the back of the sleeper. And naturally all the pumps, they've got it the other way around, where the fuel dispenser's in the front and the DEF is behind that, so it's kind of backwards. Okay guys, something I've got to do before I actually deliver this to the rail yard is I have to set up a gate pass. So you got to create an end gate, you got to give them the information about the container and the chassis, and then you have to let them know if you're going to be leaving with anything, or if you're going to bobtail out, or you're going to take a bare chassis out, or you can select determine at terminal, because I don't know, you know, they might have me pick something up from the rail yard, and if they do, well, things will change a little bit. But as long as I have all that crap set up, I can head out. All right, got a good shower in and fueled up, but I couldn't get any DEF. They don't have DEF here. You guys notice, I don't know, maybe it's just in the state of Georgia, I really don't know, but it seems like DEF is getting harder to get at these pilots and Flying J's, you know what I'm saying? But I'll be all right. I've still got like 2/3 of a tank left, but I like to keep that DEF tank topped off. I would say one good thing about my last job is it was nice to have that old truck that didn't even have a DEF tank. I wasn't used to that, but I got used to it quickly. Here's the interstate I've been talking about the whole time. We finally made it. And we got to go west toward Atlanta, 285, all that good stuff. And I want to film something in particular. They're remaking the interchange at 285 and 20 on the east side of the perimeter. They're remaking it, and it's pretty rough trying to get through there. Last time I did this, it didn't go so well. I had this street racer guy almost caused an accident right in front of me because I was in the middle lane. There's 3 lanes. I was in the middle lane, and there was some slow traffic in the right lane. I was just trying to get around them, but you know, my truck, it's not very fast. It only goes like 66. So I was in the middle lane just long enough to get around the vehicles that were going slower than me in the right lane. And this guy comes flying up my blind side. There's a slow car in the right lane. So I was just trying to get around that car. Well, this guy, he's going probably 120 miles an hour. You know, it had to have been, because he just moved so fast. And I was looking in my blind spot, you know, and thankfully, you know, because they emphasize so much on checking your mirrors, you know, consistently, especially when you're on the interstate. I saw him at the last second, so I knew what was coming, but I was still trying to get around the vehicle in the right lane, which I would have done. If he would have given me an extra 10 seconds, I would have got out of his way. But no, he couldn't do that because he was going 120 miles an hour in a freaking work zone. He comes flying up, almost runs right into the slow car that I'm trying to pass, and then he whips it over on me. He almost hits, you know, my front fender. There were vehicles like all in the left lane. It was full of traffic, and you know, had he clipped my front fender and lost it, he would have went straight into the vehicles in the left lane. It would have caused a big pile up. I mean, it was such a close call. Like, I don't know, I guess the guy thought he was playing Need for Speed or Grand Theft Auto or something, but I mean, he almost freaking took the whole interstate out. He came pretty damn close. So, you know, because of that, I'm thinking, I guess I just won't try to pass anybody right there from now on. It's not worth it. And I'll show you where I'm talking about. It's right there. If you guys are familiar with the area, it's right there where the exit for Panola Road and Wesley Chapel is. And then you come up on 285. And actually, I know I already mentioned the deer running across 285. That happened right after the guy almost caused a pile up. I got on 285 right after that. And then that's when that damn deer jumped over that freaking wall. I can show you where that was at too. And it was like going crazy. It was I think somebody, like, I don't know, that deer was acting like it was high on crack. I mean, it was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And the thing is, I've never seen any deer around Atlanta like that, so it's kind of rare, if you ask me. I've never seen anything like that. I've been on those roads a lot. Never seen anything like that. So since we are going west on I-20, I'll also film the portion that goes through Covington and Conyers and talk about those two cities a little bit, since essentially that's where I'm from, born and raised. This is a new work zone too. This is like pretty close to the exit for 278, so just east of Covington right here. Yeah, they're putting in exit ramps for this road, whatever it is. So yeah, that's kind of interesting, kind of different to see, you know, 60-mile-an-hour speed limit on this part of I-20. Bet they're having a field day writing all those tickets. And there's a big property up here somewhere to the right. It might be right over there. They're putting in a Rivian plant. You know, the electric vehicle company, kind of like Tesla, but it's Rivian. And they're putting that in Rutledge, Georgia, which is west of Madison. I've actually got family that lives over there, and yeah, they've been talking about that, and I guess I know it's not finished, but I don't even know at this point if they started building that place, but it's gonna be huge. All electric vehicles. Yeah, Social Circle city limit. That must be it back there. But it's a huge piece of property. I hate when vehicles come over that close on me because of the radar. It's kind of annoying. Because if they slow down even a little bit, you know, it's gonna set that radar off. And speaking of that radar, okay, speaking of all the sensors on this truck, I'm glad that I didn't buy this truck and pay the extra amount for all those safety features. Because I have to say that they are absolutely 100% useless. And I say that for a few good reasons. For those of you that are familiar with the safety features on these new Cascadias, you might know what I'm talking about. For instance, the speed limit display on the user interface, it may only be accurate. Like right now it's accurate, it says speed limit 70, but if we cross a sign that has a minimum speed on it, like normally for the interstate the minimum speed is 40 miles an hour, and sometimes you'll cross those signs and the truck will see it and it will think that the speed limit is 40, but it's actually the minimum speed. So it'll start displaying 40 miles an hour and then it'll start going off. Slow down, slow down. You're exceeding the speed limit on this road. Slow down, slow down. And the speed limit is actually 70, but it thinks that it's 40. Okay, so that makes that feature pretty much useless. Like I said, 50% of the time. Look, here's one right here. We're coming up on it. I'm gonna see if it actually does what I'm talking about. If you guys can see it. We got a minimum speed sign, 40. Is it gonna see it? Oh, now that I'm talking about it, it's not gonna demonstrate for you, but trust me, it happens all the time. Okay, and then you've got your blind spot monitor. There's a little light over there on the A pillar on the passenger side that's supposed to light up and let you know whenever, you know, a vehicle comes into your blind spot. And speaking of that, you know, like what I was talking about earlier with that guy that came flying up in my blind spot, that guy was going so fast that it didn't even go off. It's like the truck didn't even detect that vehicle because he was moving so damn fast. So it does that, and the thing that I don't like about when it does that is that sometimes you have to put your turn signal on. If there is a vehicle over there to your right, you need to put your turn signal on to let that vehicle know to get out of your way so you can merge to the right. But when you do that, the truck does not like it and it'll start screaming at you. So you're trying to focus, you're trying to concentrate and keep a close eye on that vehicle so that you know whenever it will get out of your blind spot, you'll know where it's at and you'll know that it's safe to get over. And you would think that that sensor would help you do that, but it actually doesn't. It just screams at you. Sometimes it's necessary to do that, I'm just saying, and you don't need this buzzer going off screaming at you while you're trying to do that, because it makes it harder to focus and concentrate. It's like, yeah, I know there's a vehicle over there. I have mirrors. I have my mirrors. I don't need flashing lights and alarms screaming at me. I've actually got 4 mirrors over there, so I can tell if there's a vehicle in my blind spot. All I gotta do is look in the mirror. I don't need a light to tell me that it's clear, and I don't trust a light or an alarm to tell me that it's clear to begin with. I'm gonna use my mirrors. So that thing is just completely pointless. All right, we're getting into Covington now. But then on top of that, there's actually a new feature just came out, and it's supposed to detect your off tracking on your passenger side. So say you had to make a right turn. Well, you got a sensor on the side of the tractor over there on the passenger side that's supposed to let you know if you're clear, but it's so inaccurate and it doesn't work. Now, it's advertised to really, do just that, to be accurate, to help you know if you're getting too close to something. The back of your trailer gets too close to an object when you're trying to make a right turn, and it's supposed to let you know, but it doesn't do that at all. It doesn't do that at all. It just basically just goes off every time you make a right turn, regardless of how much space you have. So it's pretty much useless. And all I'm saying about it is that, yeah, if you've got these safety features advertised to assist a truck driver and make their job easier, then you might want to spend a little bit more time in quality control to make sure the shit actually works. You know what I'm saying? Because none of it really works. It's just an annoyance, really, more than anything. It doesn't help you or assist you in any way whatsoever. It really doesn't. It's just one of those things. It makes doing the job more challenging, I would say. And especially knowing that you're being monitored, and they're watching you, and they're waiting for you to screw up. So in my opinion, it just makes the job more stressful, really. It's like, I know how to drive a truck. I've spent the last 8 years driving without any of this technology. I never felt like I needed any technology to help me do it. I learned how to drive a truck without depending on any of this shit. So why are you trying to force it down my throat now? Now that I actually do have experience and know what to do, why are you trying to force this stuff on me? And they might make the argument, well, it's because it basically makes our insurance cheaper, makes it easier for us to cover drivers by having this stuff. And then I would have to say, well, if the insurance underwriters, the people that actually do provide the coverage for an insurance claim, are they even aware of how this safety stuff works? Because it doesn't work the way that it was intended to work at all. It doesn't even come close. Maybe the insurance companies need to talk to some of the engineers that designed this stuff, because it's pretty much useless in my opinion, and I don't think it's ever prevented anybody from having an accident. Now, if there's somebody out there that wants to leave a comment and argue with that and give me an example of how it's ever prevented you from having an accident, I'd love to hear about it. I'm extremely interested, not to shoot you down, but just to know, the circumstance that you were in, the details, and specifically what happened with you and how it worked to save you. just want to know. I'm just curious. So basically, I just ignore it. Because if you try to pay attention to it, it just makes it'll get you all confused again, like with the whole speed limit thing. It's telling you that the speed limit's 40 miles an hour when you're on the interstate. It's like, is that really necessary? Do we really need this? Is it solving any problems at all? I don't think so. So guys, I've spent pretty much the past couple months getting used to and readjusting to driving a truck that's governed, that's got all the safety stuff on it, and even new stuff that just came out. And I'm sure that it'll happen eventually. We'll come up on a situation where I have to make a right turn, and that thing will start going off for no reason. I guess it's going off to let me know that I'm making a right turn or something. I don't know. The truck's like, hey, by the way, in case you didn't know, you're turning right now, so I'm gonna scream at you while you do it. You know what I'm saying? That's really the only logical sense I can make of it. We are going to come up into a situation here as we make our way into Conyers where I am going to utilize that center lane because we've got some exit ramps coming up that can get kind of backed up when there's usually traffic pouring onto the interstate. So I don't want to be in this lane when we come up on that. And don't even get me started on those lane departure warning sensors, because anytime those things detects any kind of mark or anything else like that on the road, it's going to start farting at you. It makes like a fart sound. So this guy in this RV right here, he might prevent me from getting over in the center lane. Which is not good, but I'll try to work my way around this guy. I wish he'd just go ahead and pass me. Yeah, you go ahead and you get in that left lane, sir. He did that because of the vehicle on the shoulder, but I'm gonna go ahead and take advantage of the fact that center lane's clear now. You can continue passing me if you choose to, sir. Now he's passing me a little, he's going a little bit faster now that he's in the left lane. Now these two exits coming up in particular, 162 Salem Road, and then the next one, which will be 138. I like to be in the center lane for these. Those on-ramps, sometimes they can get pretty crowded. Now guys, we're in Conyers now, and you may know about this city too, not just because part of the, 96 Summer Olympic Games were held here, along with some other stuff. Actually, there's a few things that put Conyers on the map, but more recently, as in, just a few months ago, I think it may have been September, you guys may or may not have heard about those chemical fires at BioLab. Well, that happened right up here. There was a huge, toxic mushroom cloud where different chemicals like chlorine and ammonia and all this noxious crap caught on fire because of some kind of safety. They broke some kind of safety code or something like that. They had an issue with their sprinklers or something. It was one of those chemicals where it reacts to water and it causes a chemical reaction. It like overheats and then it catches on fire if it gets wet. And I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it had something to do with chlorine. Because Biolab is one of those companies that make those chemicals where people like shock their swimming pools to clean them. And so yeah, there was like, they shut this interstate down for a few days actually because it was so dangerous. There was a huge evacuation zone around here. But all the smoke and stuff was billowing up so high into the atmosphere that it was blowing over into the surrounding counties, and people were getting sick. It was crazy. And the actual lab, I don't know if they finally closed it down, but this is like the third or fourth time that this freaking place caught on fire in less than like 20 years. Because they kept doing like shady stuff. They weren't like obeying the OSHA codes and all that. And like the different laws for chemical storage, they weren't doing it right. It was like neglect or whatever more than anything, I'm sure. But the actual place is up here on the right. You can actually see it from the interstate. But this chemical fire, if you guys remember when all the dock workers went on strike, I think that was in September. It was when, you know, all the hurricanes were happening. That's about the same time that this fire happened. So I think it was September. And the lab is like right up here on the right. It's actually, well, it's right here. Biolab. And funny thing is, I pointed this place out to you guys a long time ago. Back whenever I started this YouTube channel. That's where it caught on fire. I think the second video I ever uploaded to my channel, I drove past that place on just the regular surface street. You know, the road that takes you to get into the place. And I pointed it out then. Well, that was before this fire happened, and I was already talking about how the place caught on fire. I can't believe it's still there. Like I can't, if that place is still open and in business, that's crazy. That's insane that they haven't shut that place down. Because I'm telling you, it's like the third or fourth chemical fire they've had in less than 20 years. You would think like 3 strikes you're out, you know. But it's still there, we just looked at it. So that's kind of crazy. Alright, I'm just gonna let the camera roll, because this is where things start to get kind of crazy out here on the road sometimes. So I'm gonna let the camera roll, and whatever I catch, if I catch anything good, I'll keep it in the video. And see, like in the past, guys, I didn't film a whole lot of stuff in areas like this because I usually try to avoid these places at all costs. You know, I hate driving in areas like this one. But with this new job, it's kind of inevitable that I'm gonna be driving in these areas because of where, you know, the place that I'm always going in and out of is. It's in Fairburn / Palmetto, and that's on the southwest side of Metro Atlanta. So yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get over So I'm gonna have to see if the people merging onto the interstate will work with me. Really, it's their responsibility to make sure they get on safely. And this is where the work zone is. So I got a person next to me. Okay, now they're finally reacting. Yeah, this road right here, this is so screwed up right now because people don't want to slow down. Normally the speed limit's 70 right here, but they got all this work going on now. So it's dangerous. After what happened to me, that experience I was describing to you guys with Mr. Street Racer, I really don't want to be in that middle lane. I feel like I'm compromising safety if I get in it, and I would just rather avoid that. So I'll slow down coming through here. I don't like taking chances. There's too many sensors on my truck that could go off, you know what I'm saying? So I kind of just like to lay low coming through here. Alright, that's Panola. Next is Wesley Chapel, and then 285. And as aforementioned, I'll show you the interchange that they're working on at 285. All that traffic merging onto the interstate. Welcome to the party. And I can't really tell yet. I've been looking at these new overpasses and stuff that they're building down here at the interchange. I can't really tell yet what it's gonna be like. If they're just like redoing what they already had, just making it bigger, or if they're changing the design to make it work better. I can't tell yet, but I hope it improves things. I think, honestly, guys, that especially on 285, where all the exits for the interchanges are, I think they need to put up walls where the ramp starts for the exit. That's what I think. Because you know how people like to ride out, that's what I'm talking about, put my turn signal on and start screaming. People like to ride out in the center lane as far as they can when the exit lane is backed up, so that they can get to the very end of it, you know, before, you know, they get their last chance to get over, to get off at the exit, right? They'll try to do that so that they can break in front of all the vehicles that are in line to get off at the exit. Well, if they just put walls up at those exits, that would prevent that from happening. And the exits would move so much smoother, you know? It would solve so many issues. And at that point, it's like it would force everybody that wants to break in line, it would force them to have to get into the exit lane at a certain point without trying to fight their way over at the last second and come into a complete stop in an open lane of traffic, which is extremely dangerous to do that. So it would save lives, and it would also help the conditions. It would help things flow a lot better. If they chose to do that, I think they should. I don't know why I've never shown you guys this. I'm sure everybody's seen it before, but you know, just in case I have any good friends up there in Canada that It's been a while since you've been to Atlanta, or maybe you've never been to Atlanta. Hell, I don't know. Here you go. This is what it's looking like in Atlanta right now for a truck driver. I feel like I can do this without setting any sensors off or getting any kind of critical events or anything. But the thing is, you have to be extremely intuitive. You have to kind of sense things before they actually happen. Sometimes that's not possible, but you know, you do the best you can. 75 interchange coming up, and it's moving, guys. That's a good thing. This guy's going slow. See, if you don't slow, like when a vehicle comes over like that on you and they're moving slow, I don't understand this. I think this is a little ridiculous, but my following distance sensor just went off. And I was going slower than the guy in front of me. I made sure to slow down enough, but I guess because I didn't slam on my damn brakes, it made my following distance trigger go off. Which is absolutely ridiculous. If they're going in faster than you already, when they're in front of you, you adjust your speed a little bit, but you shouldn't have to slow down that damn much to keep that thing from going off. I mean, I really didn't do anything different than what the adaptive cruise control would have done. Okay, now we're coming up on the 85 interchange. This is where it gets kind of interesting for sure. I actually need to be in that lane to the right. Sorry, I just realized I missed showing you that spot where that deer jumped out. Forgot about that. I've got a truck 2 lanes over to my right. I'm just watching him to make sure he doesn't try to merge. Otherwise, I might get behind this guy. Never mind. Too much traffic back there. But I need to get over before things start to slow down up here. I don't want to speed up. Because I got vehicles slowing down in front of me. So I'm going to put my turn signal on and let it yell as we come to a stop. I'm gonna make sure this vehicle knows I'm trying to get over. All right, we're slowing down more. Tricky, very tricky. But my radar did not go off on me, so that's good. Now we're gonna be sitting, or actually you're not gonna have to, but I'm gonna be sitting in this lane for quite some time. As vehicles in these lanes over to the left pass the line of traffic for the interchange and wait till the last second to get over into this lane that I'm in right now, trying to break in front of everybody that's waiting in line to get off at the exit. When if they would just build a damn wall and put it right slap in between these 2 lanes right here, it would prevent that from happening. Because it's like either you get in the lane for the exit at the right spot, or well, you just find another way to go. You know what I'm saying? And it would be just as easy for me to merge back over to the left and do what everybody else is doing and try to get up there as far as I can before I have to get over. But I'm not doing that. You know, that's not the proper way to drive. If you know your exit's coming up, then you might as well go ahead and get in the lane that you're supposed to be in, you know? All the people that do this shit, they're all locals. They know what the road does. But yet they refuse to wait in line. The ironic thing about it is they don't want to wait in line because they don't want to waste their time sitting there forever. But they don't realize that it's the people that are doing what they are doing that makes it take so damn long. You guys know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to complain, I'm just explaining how this works. But if there was a wall preventing people from doing that, then traffic would just flow right on through, you know? And it's actually not that bad right now. This is decent. This is all right. It's congested, but it's not horrible. It's usually horrible. It's usually so bad that you're sitting right here for, God, 30 minutes sometimes. But this wasn't too bad. We're not there yet, but still, I can tell it's not gonna be that bad. I was trying to leave yesterday, and there was a bad accident on 85 right up here before the interchange. And they shut all the lanes down on 85. It was crazy. That was one of those situations I was talking about earlier where I had to find an alternate route. But I've been working locally in Atlanta for so long that I know most of the roads. So it wasn't bad. It wasn't hard to find a way around it. I gotta go down to exit 61, which is Georgia Highway 74. Or I could get off at exit 64, Georgia 138. And yes, I did mention that highway earlier, back when we were going through Conyers. It's the same road, same state highway. If I get off at 138, I can make a right and then turn left onto US 29, and we can drive through Palmetto. I can show you Palmetto. There's a low clearance. I mean, you don't have to, obviously you don't go through the low clearance, but you can see it. It's like a 10-foot bridge for the train. Same train that's connected to the rail yard we're gonna go to. So we can do it either way. I guess I'll show you Palmetto. That way, you know, in case the traffic is backed up on 74, I can avoid all that shit. Sometimes it is. What I'm about to do, it's kind of tricky sometimes. There's a total of 3 different ways that I can go to get into this rail yard. And sometimes it really does matter which option I choose. There are a few different train tracks surrounding the place, and they go in various, like they go off in various different directions. And well, if you choose the wrong road at the wrong time, you might end up getting stuck on the road waiting for a train to get out of the way that's blocking the road. So sometimes it can be crucial that you make the right decision. If that happens, it's not the end of the world. Like, you don't get in trouble for it, or they don't give you a hard time. For instance, say if you had an appointment or something like that and you happen to get stuck behind the train waiting for it to get it, you won't get in trouble, but it does hold you up, and it actually prevents you from working. And guys, I do this a lot like that. All that driving that I just did on 285 and all that, like, I do this on a consistent basis now. I do it all the time, multiple times a week, because I'm always headed in and out of here to deliver loads and to pick loads up. We also have 2 other rail yards. We have one in Austell that's off of Thornton Road, which I hate that road with a livid passion. We also have another rail yard in Atlanta, and it's off of Marietta Street, or Marietta Road, or Marietta Boulevard, one of those Marietta roads. I can't remember which one. There's quite a few of them with that name. So, and it's inside the perimeter, but it's like the northwest side of Atlanta. And I'll have to show you guys that one sometime. It's pretty interesting coming in and out of that place, and the roads are so jacked up that I guarantee you that you'll find it amusing. All right, US 29. Roosevelt Highway, left turn. City of Palmetto. I'm so confused because we're about to drive through Palmetto, like, no joke. It'll even say this is Palmetto, but there's a sign on the left side that says welcome to City of Fairburn. There's a sign on the right side that says welcome to Union City. So which is it, guys? You got me all confused and flabbergasted. Which one is it? What city are we in? Now it says welcome to Fairburn. I'm assuming that this bus is going to stop again up here. I don't like assuming, though, because when you assume, you make an ass out of you and me. So So this truck, I'm all confused now. Is he trying to get behind that bus? That's the low clearance coming up on the GPS, but it's actually over here to the left. It's Highway 92. I think I've talked about that low clearance before, actually, you guys. Yeah, the bus just stopped at a bus stop just in time for the truck to get behind it. So there's one there, and then you've also got Highway 92, which goes to the left right here. And Highway 92 is a legit road for trucks, just not this part of it. So if you were ever thinking, you were in a truck and you were ever thinking, yeah, I'm gonna take Highway 92 all the way to Palmetto, yeah, you can't do that. Low clearance. Highway 92 goes all the way over there to Griffin. It's actually a great road if you don't want to be on the interstate. It's a good road that connects 85 and 75. I'm gonna get over in the right lane now that we're around that bus. Now, that low clearance is because of this train track. This train track goes south and it's gonna go all the way into the rail yard. So it's part of the road that I was talking about the train stops on. And sometimes you get stuck. But now that we're on US 29, I don't have to worry about that track blocking me. I have to worry about another track blocking me. It's all very confusing, guys. When I first started coming here for my orientation and I took a good look at all of this stuff, and I was just trying to, you know, picture it in my head. What is this going to be like doing this every day with all the trains and just getting in and out of this place? It's kind of tricky, guys. It can be kind of tough sometimes. Now I am going to have to make a left turn. If you look across right there, that's actually where the train is known to block the road, right there. And the entrance to the rail yard is actually right there. So we're gonna come down and make a left turn. Basically do a big U-turn. A legal U-turn though. And I kind of went the long way around, but I did that for the sake of, you know, not being blocked by a train. And it looks like this track up here is clear as well, so that's good. Is it really though? Yeah, I think it is. So we're gonna make a left turn right here. It basically do a big giant U-turn. Tracks are clear, we got lucky. And we can get into the rail yard from this direction now. So that truck right there, I could have came from that direction and it would have taken a lot less time to do that, but yeah, you guys already explained it, but yeah, that's another way to come in. Tight squeeze getting through that. And I showed you guys the little app thing where I set all my information up. All right, there's my QR code. I'm gonna scan it. And it's telling me where to take this to. I have to take it to the parking area where the crane is. So that's gonna be all the freaking way in the back. You guys see how busy it is here? But you guys can see it now, and you know what I'm talking about when I mention the cranes and the having to wait. Sometimes you have to wait. If you're picking something up and it's on the train and they haven't put it on a chassis yet, you have to go grab a chassis and get in one of those parking spaces and wait for the crane to lift the container up off the train and put it down on your chassis. You lock it down, get all your paperwork sorted out, and then you head out. Sometimes that can take several hours to do. Wants me to put this in spot 424, and this is in the 140 section, so we got to go way the hell down here, like way down here, to drop this. Thankfully the speed limit's 20 miles an hour, so as long as you don't go over 20 miles an hour, you're good. Look, there's one of the containers lifted up in the air. You have to really look out for the yard jockeys at this place and just pay attention to them. They don't ever pay attention to you, but you have to pay attention to them and which way they're going. You always have to yield to them. They always have the right of way, no matter what. And like, some of the rules that they have going on in this place are extremely obscure. They're lacking in the signage department, which is the main form of communication on things that you can do and things that you shouldn't do. And well, if you make the wrong mistake in this place, then they'll kick you out and you're not allowed to come back in. That's why another reason why I'm like, should I have a camera on my head right now? I don't know. I don't know. All right, we're in the 380s right now. Got to take it down to 424. So this is like a 2-lane road right here. If you can see the 2 double yellow lines. That doesn't mean that you can't cross over. It just means you got to be on the right side of it. So 424. Right here. So I'm gonna get that lined up just right with my ass end hanging out more than it should be, but we'll try to correct that as needed. I gotta keep in mind there's a freaking pole right there. And it's really interesting trying to back these containers up because they tend to flex. The chassis. There's my pivot point. Readjust so I'm more centered in my space. Thankfully the spaces are pretty wide, so it makes it a hell of a lot easier to do this. Straighten it up. Make sure I get it to where my landing gear is inside of that yellow box. Not coming back too far. Good. Okay. Well, guys, that's it. Well, I couldn't end this video without giving you guys an example of what happens when
trains block the road